All right. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna flip around because I stand behind a massive window. So I will just have everything. Can you see me now? Is this better, guys?
Much.
Nice. Okay. So welcome. Find and win the buyer. Lauren, are you going to be controlling the slides?
I can be, yes.
Can you please do that?
Yes.
Oh, look at that. So here's what we got going on. Our goal for today is basically for you to get your first appointment within the next 2 weeks and have a buyer's contract signed within 30 days. And this is going to be basically your bread and butter. This is a way for us to help you understand what your value add proposition is and how to engage buyers and really close that deal. But before we get into all of that fun stuff, I'd love to go over what you guys learned yesterday, any questions you might have on the subject matter, and so on and so forth. So I'd love to open this up. And really, this is jump in with questions at any time. If you have anything you want to go over, if you have any highlights you want to talk about, we can certainly jump into that before we get into the subject matter. So please, the floor is yours. All right, crickets, per usual. I will randomly call you guys out if you do not start engaging. I'm not going to lie to you. This is my style. So if there's anything you guys want to go over, speak now or forever hold your peace. Awesome. Fantastic. Good stuff. Brenda Davis, you need coffee. I feel you. Believe me, I feel you. Okay, so let's start then. So they have scripts for me to read off of, and I'm probably going to go a little bit more off the cuff because I don't enjoy saying all this stuff the way that it's presented to me. But basically what you're seeing on your screen, there are two ways, two things that you should be doing, which is grow your business and run your business. Ooh, hold on, let's go back. Jennifer said, I enjoyed how he talked about what makes us unique and sets us aside from others, so we are adding value to our clients. Good, very good.
Yes, all about the value proposition.
It's really what it comes down to, right? Your differentiating factor between you and everyone else in the marketplace. And I'm sure this has already been tossed at you a number of times. There are more real estate agents in this industry right now than there ever have been before. And then the other stat that should be a little eye-opening is the fact that there are more potential agents in real estate school right now than there are actual agents in this country. So by defining what your value add proposition is and defining how you plan to attack buyers and sellers, you're going to be coming out ahead much more than anyone else. Nice. I love competition too. I'm wildly competitive, but secretly, no one actually knows this. Now, all you do, but nobody actually knows that. Anyway, so there are two things that successful agents do every day, which is grow their business and run their business, right? There is absolutely no secret to being a successful real estate agent. So what we try and do is we try and follow those who have done it before us and have done it at a very, very high level. So each activity on this slide, if not obvious, so long story short, every activity that we have on these slides, if it's not obvious to you, it is all out there for you to understand that this is what you should be doing to be a successful real estate agent. So the goal of our time here is to model what successful agents do every day and show you how to do it. Is that pretty clear? Yep. All I can see is Lauren just nodding her head. So good. It's fantastic. Okay. Where are we?
Next slide.
Yep. So what we're going to focus on today is lead generation for buyers and sellers. So understanding the importance of your database and how to take advantage of your sphere of influence will allow you to launch into all the grow and run business topics, right? So what we're going to really concentrate on is lead generation. And that could be I think lead generation is a very vague term all around, right? It's more about how you are marketing yourself and how you are prospecting yourself to potential buyers and sellers in the marketplace. Most people think about lead generation as pure prospecting. I've always had the mindset of lead generation as here's my full web and how I'm going to drag potential buyers and sellers, how I'm going to get in conversation so I can eventually get belly to belly with buyers and sellers, because the end goal is the appointment. And by understanding that the more appointments you have, the more likely you are to have that buyer's consult, more likely you are to have that buyer's agency agreement. Comments, questions, concerns? Okay. Find the buyer. So the agenda for our day today is find and win the buyer 1 hour session. Includes find the buyer, cultivate buyer leads, qualify buyer leads, and sign the buyer's agency agreement. So we're going to start with find the buyer. So here are, I'm not going to say, so there's a line in here that Lauren and I have talked about ad nauseum last night. And our model is we want to teach you how to fish and handle leads, right? So a lot of models out there for real estate say we have all the leads you could ever need. The issue with that is they don't actually teach you how to handle these leads. So I want to make sure that you're walking away from here not only understanding how to find the leads, but how to nurture those leads at a high level where you are not cracking 15 eggs before you get to the 16th egg and you're able to sign a contract. I want you to be able to sign the contract on the first agent. So the biggest profile here and the biggest, I would say, stat, 89% of buyers purchase their home through a real estate agent. I think that's pretty apparent. If you are going at it alone, you're doing yourself a disservice.
That's great news for all of you guys.
Good job, Lauren. She stayed up until about 3 o'clock in the morning practicing that line. So.
All right.
41% of buyers found their agent through a referral from friends or family. 75% of buyers interviewed one real estate agent during their home search, and 51% of buyers visited open house as a way to search for homes. The biggest stat in here for me is that 75%. What that means is timeliness, speed is going to be of the utmost importance to you. So taking all this into consideration, where do you think you want to begin looking for buyers? I'm not going to answer it for you. Someone's going to have to answer.
Your sphere of influence.
Thank you.
Great
Gary.
answer.
At open houses.
Okay. Open houses, sphere of influence. What else?
I actually wear my Keller Williams name tag
Okay.
out in public. And
Sure.
when people start to, they're like, oh, hey, you're an agent. And I go, yeah, so what is it that I can help you with? And I've actually talked to total strangers about real estate, which was kind of fun.
I love
Okay.
it. Great.
That's ballsy. I like that a lot, Brenda, actually. I'm not going to lie to you. I have similar agents in our office that will do that. Actually, Don Savastano. He likes to take his dog for a walk in the afternoon and he spends an hour outside and he'll just talk to people on the street. It's an interesting tactic, but it seems to work well for him. He's a capper. He's a good producer. He's a solid agent all around. So my biggest piece of advice for lead generation is not necessarily find the right mode for you, but figure out what you're comfortable with, right? We actually had a meeting yesterday where we talked about figure out what you do well and then leverage out your weaknesses to other parts. So I have a lot of agents that door knock really well. I have a lot of agents that cold call. I have one guy that fully believes that he's got to make 500 calls in a week for him to get his appointments. I have other people that just text message and email. In my experience, frankly, the way I lead generated is I utilize a CRM system. I was a dual career agent. That's what I'm trying to say. Good job, Josh. I was a dual career agent for 4 years. I ran my family's business and I also had a budding real estate career. I knew that I only had time to maybe make 5 calls a day. So for me, understanding how to utilize technology and CRM system to drag in leads and identifying my top opportunities by using the technology made it very easy for me to figure out what 5 calls or 10 calls to make in a day. And that's from, only $1.5 million in volume a year to 4 million to about actually 10 million this past year. So if you figure out what your value add proposition is, and then figure out what your best mode of communication is going to be, and then stick to it and be consistent, eat that frog every day, you're going to be successful. I think we can go to the next slide. Any questions?
No, we got some people in the chat saying they've gotten or they're going to look for their sphere, open houses, seminars.
Seminars. Okay. I like that. Good for you guys.
I have one thing to say, if you don't
Sure.
mind.
Of
So
course.
just in case if you don't have too much in your sphere to call, how can you do the lead generation calling?
You gotta add
like
to
now
that
it's not too
sphere.
many open houses, so.
So you have to add to that sphere. So when you're talking about, hey, I only have 15 or 20 people that I know that I can call. Well, what are you going to do to market to add people to that sphere? So lead generation, again, I think it's a very vague term. It really should be called basically your sphere of influence marketing, right? First off, you need to have people in that sphere of influence, but how do we add people to that sphere? And that could be, some of it's door knocking, some of it is geo farming, some of it could just be prospecting, some of it could be marketing, some of it, there's no, and I apologize because I'm trying to, yep, Kirsten, mailings to farm, yep, that'll work. What percentage of leads is generated from marketing versus prospecting? That is it's kind of a loaded question, right? Because your leads could be from marketing. Your prospecting, though, is part of your nurture process too. So you're talking about two separate things, kind of, right? They go hand in hand with one another, but you're talking about active lead generation and passive lead generation. The point is to continuously add to that sphere of influence, so you do have people, not necessarily to call, but people to add value to, right? Where you can start doing your 5x5x5 or your 36 touch or your 66 touch. The point is, though, you shouldn't be doing one or the other. You need to be doing both. You need to be constantly advertising in the areas you want to work. You need to be constantly, and the biggest low-hanging fruit that people, I think, forget about is, and it's free to you, is join every community page in areas that you want to work in. So for instance, I live in Hopkinton, Mass. Okay. When I was an agent, there's like Hopkinton dads, there's this is the worst, but like the Real Housewives of Hopkinton, so on and so forth. All these pages are set up for people asking about who do you have for a contractor? Who do you know? Does anyone know what's going on in the town library? Either way, the point of it is you want to be the first person to comment in those pages as an expert in the area, not necessarily a real estate expert. Does that make sense?
Yes, I have been trying, but till now I haven't been too much luck.
It takes time. This isn't like this is not I do it once and it's done. It takes time. It's going to take energy, effort, and understanding on what is going to be valuable for your time and what's going to be valuable money that you're putting into it, right? So I think the hardest part too with marketing is the fact that you need to continuously test what your messaging is. Everyone believes that like there's only one answer, right? We're all guilty of hey, this is the shiny object that's going to get me all the business in the world. A lot of people believed it was Facebook marketing or Google marketing or geofencing or mailers or door knocking. Don't get caught in the new shiny tool of the day. Figure out what because all of these things are just modes of getting in front of your target audience, right? What's more important is what your messaging is going to be. Okay. So your message is really what's going to differentiate you from the rest of the marketplace, not where you're marketing it. Lauren, correct me if I'm wrong, because I feel like I'm talking in circles.
No, you're good. I think
Okay.
another important piece is following up with every buyer lead that you encounter.
Yep.
Whether it be from an open house, in the grocery store, things like that, depending on the type of relationship you already have established with them. Yeah, I think that's something important. We've got some more in the chat. We've got, let's see, come from contribution. Yep, kind of like you said, what can you offer? Good example, bringing gingerbread houses, adding some type of value in some way. Farming our immediate neighborhood and surrounding areas. We've set up a referral program with the school's parent group. Love it.
It's a great idea.
Yes.
If you have school age children, that should be your bread and butter. You need
Yes.
to be that person. That's going to be, those are going to be referral on referral on referral. That's excellent. It's a very, very smart idea.
Mhm.
Volunteer, Janet.
How to express area specialty if you're a new agent and not from that area? It's a good question.
So Sarah, when you're talking about area of specialty, are you talking about working in a specialized area or a neighborhood, right? So you want to be an expert in that neighborhood. The easiest, there's no right or wrong way to do it. I would say you specialize in the area because you probably live in that area. Am I right about that? No. Okay. Okay. So do you want to jump on? You can just start talking. That way I can get a better idea versus just guessing.
Hi. Sorry.
No worries.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I've heard this a couple times where people say you want to be like really knowledgeable about the area. You want to express that to your buyer or to your seller. And I have a seller who I'm going to hop on the phone with later today, and
Nice.
she's in Marlboro, and I'm not from Marlboro. I mean, I'm from Sudbury, which is a neighboring town,
Right.
but I live in Boston, and she knows me very well, and she knows that I'm not wine of the region when it comes to Marlboro.
Okay.
So I'm just wondering, like, we're close, so that's fine. But what about for future conversations with strangers? I just don't want to act like dishonest.
So first off, Sarah, what market center are you with?
Boston Metro.
Okay. So you're in that's Dave McCarthy's office, right?
I'm new, so that name doesn't ring a bell.
He's the operating principal there.
Okay.
Okay. So a couple things. First off, I would go to whoever your coach is or TL or ATL there and ask them to get you market stats on how many homes your entire team. So first off, you come from a place of, it's not just me, the agent, but I quote unquote work for an office that did X, Y, and Z volume across Massachusetts, but we also sold X number of homes in that immediate area, right? So like you have other agents that are going to be able to work with you and help you, because obviously our culture is community here, right? We have a culture of community. So you have other agents that work in that area extensively that are going to help you out. Secondly, get really, really comfortable running stats in the MLS. Have a very good understanding over the last 6 months of what has happened with single family homes. And Marlboro is primarily single family homes. There are a number of 55 plus communities there. There are some condos, but I would say the lion's share of it are single family homes. Is a person you know, is that a single family or is that a condo?
She's selling a single family and then looking to buy a single family for herself.
Okay, is still in Marlboro?
In the Marlboro area.
Okay.
She's flexible with what she's going to buy.
Okay, so what I would say is get really comfortable on the MLS, getting your market stats, right? Have a very good understanding of over the last 6 months, what has that market done, i.e. Days on market for average to solid single family homes. I would get an idea of what the market stats are on the percentage growth, right? So when we're talking about, all right, 6 months ago, the average home was, call it $484,000. Now we're up to 512. So we've got like a 1.5–2% bump on prices. So be really, really comfortable talking about what the market stats are doing and average days on market based on the average home that's being listed. Also utilize something called niche. So niche.com will give you a good idea on what the school systems are doing, give you a good idea on what the nightlife's doing, I mean, so I can speak highly about Marlboro because I worked in Marlboro. I'm from Westboro. I'm from that area. So when I'm thinking about Marlboro, I'm thinking about shopping opportunities. I'm thinking about how close it is to Hudson, where you have, you know, rail trail flatbread and that type of nightlife and so on and so forth. Just don't lie. Like, no one's telling you to lie, but utilize the team aspect here, right?
Yeah, I
Utilize the
appreciate
fact
that.
that
That's great advice.
yeah, so utilize that, and then utilize those websites that will give you really good insight on school systems and, you know, the most important touch points, especially for single families. Most of the time they either have older, like mid-level, is that the right? No, like 10, 12-year olds and younger families, right? That those are the people looking at the single families. So school systems are going to be important for them, right? Nightlife's going to be important for them. Shopping's going to be important. Like the amenities are going to be important. So if you have a good understanding of that, good understanding of what your quote unquote team can bring to you, and the fact that you technically should be touting your office, your leadership as your backing, so to speak, right? So it's not just me selling your home, but our office will do what we need to do to help you get it sold.
Thank you for that.
No worries. What else we got?
Check the chat. The website for the school system, that was
Niche.com,
.com.
NICHE. Yep.
And then let's see, a couple more. How many buyers / sellers practically should we be handling at one time effectively? Asking so that you can basically do a good quality job for your clients. That's a good question.
How good are you at time management? That's the better question, right? How good are you at juggling multiple things? For my own experience, when I was a dual career agent, I understood that for sellers, I could work with 4 at a time because it was 2 weeks upfront of a lot of work of getting all that set up. But after those 2 weeks are over, it's basically quiet time, right? It gets handled a lot by the seller's attorney. It gets handled a lot by the buyers having to do their own due diligence. And at that point, you're basically a messenger back and forth, just making sure things are moving along. About 2 weeks before close, if it's single family, obviously you're going to do a fire cert. And then you're just going to be hounding the buyer to make sure that they have their clear close. So I could do 4 as a dual career agent. Buyers were different, right? I've got a 3-year-old, a 1-year-old. I had a full-time job. I knew that I only had maybe 8 to 10 hours a week where I could realistically go out on showings. So I never did more than 2 or 3 buyers at a time. If you are a full-time agent though, and I'm sure so we're what, 11 days into this, right? For Ignite, I'm sure you have heard the term time blocking. Okay. Protect your lead generation time with jealousy, and then plan out who you're going to be working with and how well you can communicate. How organized are you? Because that's more of the question. And then the other portion of this too is you're only going to be as good as how well rested you are, right? So you teach people how to treat you is what it comes down to. So set boundaries, set expectations. If you say, hey, I am done working, I'm done answering questions after 7 o'clock at night, you should be saying that upfront in your buyer's consultation, right? I will be available to you if it's absolutely a 911 and you call me after 7. I will try and get back to you that night. Otherwise, it'll be after 8 a.m. the next morning, right? If you can set that expectation and set that boundary, first off, they're gonna see you as a true professional, where you're not. Most agents fall into the bucket or the mistake where they are saying my best ability is availability, which is bullshit. Your best ability is based off of your training, your knowledge of the market, your customer service, and you shouldn't be answering questions at midnight. So went off on a little tangent, so I do apologize, but understand that it's more of a question on how organized you are versus anything else. It's not a question of how many you should be working with. It's how many can you handle feasibly while providing the same level of service. And that comes down to time management and organization.
Nice. I'm going to touch on Mark's question, going back to community Facebook groups, and then we can go on to the next slide. When talking about people asking questions, yeah, he says, I feel like a lot of answers asked in those groups could be answered by a Google search. And I totally agree. There's nothing that personally grinds my gears more than when I see something that could definitely just be Googled and easily answered. When they're posting and putting themselves out there in that group, they're looking for that referral, that person that's already had the experience or can add in that insight. This is going to help boost your credibility within the group as a community expert if you're adding that value to the kind of conversations, and ultimately just showing your presence within the group. Does that make sense?
Lauren, that's awesome. That's a great answer. And Mark, I also do agree with you. They're looking for that personal touch, and that's why they're doing it. It's not out of laziness where it's like, yeah, I'm just going to ask, I'm going to put it out to the group. It's, I need someone that's in the inside, in the know. And that in the know portion of it is more important to them than just getting the answer that they're looking for themselves.
Yeah, I was kind of saying, like, if you don't know the answer, you could Google and answer them to be like the first person to answer it. You know what I mean? But that way it kind of seems like you know what you're talking about, or you know the area, but really you just Googled it.
Yeah. So, and I understand that, but this goes back into the fact that you should be making those connections yourself, because that's a referral going out to another person that should be coming back into you later on down the road, right? So if you're making those connections yourself, so say someone's looking for a plumber, you have a plumber that you've worked with quite often, you like them, they're trustworthy, they have good prices, and they show up, you're sending that person, that plumber, a referral. Say they're in someone else's house and you've been sending them business for the last year or so, that business should be coming back your way when they know someone is getting ready to sell. So it works twofold. Not only are you an expert in the community, you're also expanding your referral network.
Yeah, I understand.
Good. Hi, Brooke.
Hi, friends. Are we behaving?
I'm behaving. What do you mean?
Not you, guy. Not you, Josh. I know you behave every single day. I know.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. I know Lauren behaves. I just didn't know if our friends were behaving.
Our friends are behaving. They're being
asking
awesome. They're
lots of good
actually being
questions.
very engaging.
I love that. When we have a ton of videos on. Look at you guys. I'm so proud of you. I was just coming in to say hi, make sure everything was rocking and rolling right.
Yeah,
It is. We got off on a really hard side tangent, so I apologize.
This is my favorite picture in all of our coloring books.
That one?
This one.
The cultivate buyer leads.
This is my favorite. The lead gen model, this version is my most favorite because I can also map every piece of command to this.
We love that connection.
Anyway,
like, technology or something.
I know, right? Anyway, I'm done nerding. Have a great day. Text me, guys, if you run into any problems.
Thanks, Brooke.
Bye, Miss Brooke. Thank you.
All right, getting back on track. And I think now you guys all understand this. Your most important job is lead generation, right? You went to school, you learned how to be ethical and not get sued. Now you're learning how to be a real estate agent. And what we're going to teach you for you to support that real estate agent lifestyle is how to lead generate and lead generate well. So you always have enough buyers and sellers to work with so you can live the life you want to live and have your own autonomy. Okay. Next. So now, really, you found a lead. Is that right? Is that where we're at, Lauren?
Next slide.
Yeah. No, we're at cultivate buyer leads. No, go back. Sorry, bear with me. I don't do well with the roadmap they've given me. So, okay, you found a lead and now you need to cultivate or nurture them. Cultivating the lead means you place them on an interactive and action-based touch program. So a lot of this is we're going to be going into command a little bit, which is not my strong suit. It's Lauren's strong suit. That's why she's with me right now. So you found a lead, you have them, you've got the initial, they're interested in getting marketing materials from you. How do we get them from lead into prospect to appointment? It's a question. You guys can answer it. I know you can. You're smart.
Start by showing them your value, what you bring to the table that's going to make their life easier and better in getting their real estate dreams.
Okay, Brenda, I love that. How do we do that? What is the overall term that we're looking for there? Karen said, pick up the phone. I like that too.
Good scripts.
Okay. We've got pick up the phone, good script.
Hello.
Hello? Okay.
Introduce
Term
them
we're
to your,
looking- Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
No,
Introduce
go,
them
go,
to-
go. Tell me, Gary.
Introduce them to your Keller Williams app.
I like that as well. The term we're looking for there is nurture, right?
Nurture. Oh, yeah.
Nurture. We gotta
Gary's about
nurture
that.
them. That's how we get them. And nurturing is, you should be putting them on a command smart plan, right? Because a lot of nurturing should be automated, okay? So that way we can identify who is interacting with our marketing materials. There's two things that really will be highlighted by nurturing them, right? Is your messaging getting across? Yes or no? And secondly, who are my top opportunities by what their activities are on our KW app with our KW marketing? Because the people that are more interactive with you are the ones you really want to start concentrating on. The ones that you're just losing at the bottom, or technically the top of the pipeline, aren't messaging or aren't meshing well with what your messaging is. So we need to figure out what we're missing there. Those are the ones that you want to do probably a longer, I would say I would do a longer nurture cycle with those people. For me, the best thing that I ever did, the best piece of marketing I ever did, is when I actually got a lead that opted in and they wanted to see what I was sending them, was one simple text message. And that was technically a multiple choice question that I sent out saying, hey, thanks for signing up on our app or our website. Just so for my knowledge, are you going to be in the market to buy a home in 1 to 3 months? A, B, 3 to 6 months, C, 6 to 12 months, D, not sure, E, not interested. Because instead of them typing out like, hey, yeah, I wasn't really trying to do that, I got a 1-letter answer that would give me an idea of how I should nurture these people. Because those A's are the ones that I'm going to be, okay, message right back. Can we jump on a call and let's do a needs analysis? Let's figure out what you're looking for and how I can better show you that I'm the right agent for you. Questions? Okay, that was how I always. What about if they say they're not sure? Well, that is when you actually utilize your smart plan a little bit better, right? So you have a not sure smart plan where you're sending much more general information to them, right? Giving them ideas on the market updates. Those are people you just check in with. So not everyone is going to fall into the category of, all right, well, I'm buying the next 3 months, I'm buying the next 6 months. Karen, that's the entire point. Because if you can get an answer back, it's going to save you time, energy, effort. This is what we're all about, right? We're trying to build up your credibility while saving you time on the back end. I'm sorry, Pankaj, I might, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, just jump on here, yell at me. I'm terrible at names, so I apologize.
No, you're right. You're pronouncing it right, man.
Nice. Good for me. Thank you. I appreciate that. It at least gives you an answer, right? Like you say, hey, I'm not really sure. Okay. Your best answer back to that, or a message like that, is saying, what are you unsure about? What is it about the market? Do you not have the financing? I'm just trying to get an idea so I am not over inundating you with information you don't want or need. So then you're coming from a place of contribution of understanding that they may not truly be in the market right now.
Yeah. So I came across with a difficult buyer. I can give you one example of that.
Please.
So that buyer looks like a, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Yep.
Okay. So that buyer was like basically a curious buyer. He wanted to see the houses, like 10 houses, 20 houses. And then I say, okay, what you're trying to look at it? And like pinpointing like every simple stuff like, okay, no, this is basement is leaking. This is roof is like 20 years old. This is like a broken window. And I say, man, probably you're looking for a new house, because whenever you see the old house, there would be something always, all the time. So we can definitely work on those to fix it. We can always put the offer so that the seller can fix it and all those kind of things. But look to me like a curious buyer. So my question is, how to identify whether he's a curious or a true lead, and we're not wasting the time on him?
Needs analysis. It's the easiest thing you can do. The needs analysis is probably the most simple exercise that you can do, and it maybe takes 15 to 20 minutes of your time to set up. Well, it'll take you 30 seconds to set up, but going through the exercise is actually going to show you. What are you doing, Lauren? Oh, are you getting command up? Yep. Okay. Sorry. Doing a needs analysis is actually going to show them what the feasibility of what they're looking for is, right? So when you're doing a needs analysis, you're saying, okay, you just told me, and like you said, this is kind of a looky-loo, so to speak. That person is looking for a 3-bed, 2-bath in Pankaj. Where are you?
I'm in Grafton area.
You're in Grafton?
Yeah.
Okay. So Grafton, you're looking for a 3-bed, 2-bath, say 2,000 plus square feet. And looking for Grafton, you're probably looking in the mid-4s then. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then what you're doing right there is saying, okay, this is your wish list, right? This is exactly what you're looking for in a home. Let's look at the actual feasibility of what you're looking for via the data on the MLS. So then you do a back search on the MLS. You see how many of those with that description in that area sold for that amount of money, right? So you see how many sold in the last 6 months, you see how many are currently under agreement, and you see how many are for sale. What this will do for you is it'll do a couple things. First off, it'll show what the feasibility of what they're looking for is, right? That's going to buy you actual credibility with this buyer. Secondly, it's going to show you how serious they are as a buyer, because if it comes back where it's only, one home in the mid-4s that fit that description based on beds, baths, location, etc., and they're gonna be like, oh, well, yeah, well, maybe we'll just wait it out. Well, then once you hear that word, okay, that's when you put them on a longer term nurture where you have to be less interactive with them, less time picking up the phone, and let them kind of come to you. Keep them top of mind, make sure that they're always being touched, at least once a month. But you understand that they're not serious. They're thinking that the market is going to turn in a favorable direction for them when they don't really know. So that is how I would do it. But they're already giving the roadmap by, they've taken you out to what, 20 houses already? Well, that means they're trying to shove a square peg into a round hole. They're not really
not 20. I exaggerated, but I showed him like 5 or 6 houses, and he actually gave me a very good sense of like being a serious kind of thing.
Yep.
But he wants everything like perfect, the perfect price, perfect house, the perfect that kind of thing. I say, man,
yeah,
this is
so do the needs analysis with them based off of the quote unquote perfect, right? A 2017 to 2022 build, based off of everything, what he looks like, and just figure out what that actual price point is going to be.
Right. Got it. Thank you, John.
No worries. Okay, where are we right now? Pots.
We are discussing how we can integrate command with nurturing a lead.
I love that. That's great. Do you want to jump in?
I love that journey for us. All right. I am going to go to my command login in a second. Zoom is fine. Cool. All right. So I'm at my command login, which is agent.kw.com. You're going to log in. It's going to be first initial, last name, maybe a number, and your password. And I'm going to sign in. And we are going to have time to do this ourselves, but I'm going to demonstrate first. Awesome. So we're going to get to our home screen dashboard, and we are going to go into the Smart Plan tab today. And I like smart plans, and my favorite part about smart plans is putting myself on them first, just so I know how my client is perceiving my communication. And so I also know when they're getting touch points from me if it is automated. So I came over to smart plans and I jumped over to the library because a smart plan is an automatic drip campaign allowing you to nurture a lead, nurture a previous client, any kind of contact that you already have. Let's see, there are different types. We're going to jump into the long-term nurture, I believe, today.
Good.
So this is explaining the long-term nurture plan. Now, the goal of this, I think it explains it right here. Stay top of mind by scheduling regular check-ins with your contacts over the span of 6 months. There's 10,800 agents using it currently. It's going to run for 31 days with 8 different steps and 3 different touch points. So I'm going to walk through the steps first of all. First, what you're going to do is you're going to add a contact to the smart plan. And there's going to be an automatic 10-day delay on this one. It's then going to remind you to call them after 10 days as part of the plan, do a check-in, and then a delay. Send a value email, delay, and then send a text. Josh, feel free to jump in at any point.
Sorry, I was closing my door, so you guys didn't hear what our MCA was saying in the background.
You're good. I can hear it from down the hall.
Yeah, well, you could probably hear me from down the hall as well. Couple things that I want you all to understand is that these smart plans are customizable. Okay, knowing that there's 10,000 people using the same smart plan and understanding that your database is not mutually exclusive. I can guarantee you people that I harvested in my database or in some other agent's database as well. The last thing you want is having similar or same communication constantly. So take the time, spend the energy, effort, and understanding to customize these to your own style and to your value add proposition. It's going to save you energy, effort. It's going to save you headaches going forward. These are plug and play. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure it'll work. If you had 10,000 people in your database, I guarantee you're going to get people crawling back to you. But it's going to be much more effective if it is customized to how your marketing style is going to be. Those are my 2 cents.
Where can we put it to remind us when is anniversary of the house so we can send to the clients or their anniversary, their birthdays? Sure. Where can we put this so remind us?
Yeah, so you want to start by making sure that you have all of their contact information updated in the contact section. So if you're over here in the contacts, I'll just jump back because the importance and the effectiveness of smart plans all comes back to how healthy your contact list is.
Yep.
So I'm going to just click add contact. We're going to want to make sure that we have as much information included here as possible. When you're doing a smart plan, say it needs to have an email address or say it needs to have a home anniversary, it's going to notify you if there's any kind of information missing, just to make sure that
Potts, you can add me in there. You can use me as the example if you want.
All right, Mr. Wolf. All right, our lead is, I found you as through prospecting.
Wow, what a prospector.
I worked hard on that one.
Brenda, the smart plans technically would work without it, but it'll skip steps if you don't have an email address. Your best bet if you do not have all the contact information is to scrub your database, i.e. make those calls with a script saying, I'm updating my contact list. Here's what I'm missing from you. And that way it's an easier conversation for you to get into.
So once you have the information such as the home anniversary and you want to include that in part of a smart plan, there are smart plans that actually work with that. Let's see. My favorite part is that the command app, which is new, will actually show it right there on your home screen. Let's see. Perfect. There's some here. This one, there's 47,000 agents using it. I think this one is probably going to be the most successful.
It feels aggressive. Feels like
Feels
a lot
aggressive.
of agents.
That sounds like a lot of agents. I mean, home anniversaries only happen once a year, so.
Right.
But perfect. What do we have going on in the chat? Do smart plans work with no email, or is that an essential link?
I answered.
So,
I already answered.
oh, you got it. Lovely,
Yeah, I got it.
lovely. And then
I'm afraid of
Sarah.
automatic text, so I have not set up Twilio. So the automatic text, first off, they're customizable, right? So you should be coming up with your own plan based on your marketing style. For the love of God, do not do what is suggested of you from the company. The reason for that is that is the laziest way to do business. It doesn't actually add any value to what you're doing. If you want to start doing automatic text, use the first text message that I gave you, which is that multiple choice question. Send that out, and that'll at least start getting you in conversation with people. I can guarantee you'll get a higher response rate based on it because it's a one-letter answer that they need. Yes. Good.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
No worries.
All right, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add ourselves to a smart plan. So if you can bring up command in another tab, that would be fabulous.
Pankaj, yes, but our time will be spent. So our time today, if you want, you can book time with me later on today, and I'm happy to walk you through that. Just shoot me an email and you and I can talk, okay?
Perfect. So if you are in command, what you're gonna do is you're gonna head over to the smart plan tab on the left, and then head over to library. Does everybody already have themselves put in as a contact within command?
I don't.
Love it. Josh, relax. Brenda does though, so she's on top of it. So
Good job, Brenda. Good job, Mark.
spectacular. All right, we're gonna pick the long-term nurture. In order to add this to our My Smart Plan section and add this to our command, we're gonna click the Add Smart Plan button. And we are going to click download. I don't know why this looks like a bundle, but we're gonna keep going with it.
I'm so glad you're the one doing this.
You're welcome. I'm going to head back over to the My Smart Plan tab. And it should be somewhere in here. I am not very good at naming smart plans. Yeah. Alrighty, 1 second. Oh, I shouldn't hit the download button. All right, back to My Smart Plan. You know what? I was early, so.
Hey, I was only 4
right.
minutes late, which is impressive.
That's 4 minutes late. No, to be early is to be on time. Or on time to be, I don't know. All right, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over to the pencil button and click edit. All right, here you're gonna be able to rename it. Let me get rid of that extra my, not sure what's there. Trigger event. Josh, what are some examples of trigger events that would prompt somebody to be added to this kind of smart plan?
Initial contact, referral, they get in touch with you, you're farming an open house, you did paid for leads. There's a number of different things that would be a trigger event. Whatever your initial contact is, though, that's your trigger event to start it. So when you are having that quick 10 to 15 minute call to figure out and qualify that lead, and we're actually going to get that into that next, that should be your trigger event.
Perfect. So in this trigger event starts day one. The day they are added to the smart plan is the start of the plan. In this plan, there's a 10-day delay to immediately start. So you've already had some kind of touch point with them as the trigger event. We're going to immediately jump into a 10-day delay.
I like making it a 7-day delay.
Why is that?
Because it's week over week versus 10 days. So if you met them on a Sunday at an open house, you're probably not adding them until Monday or Tuesday that week. And if you go too long, you're going to forget about you. So you give them the weekend to kind of search around a little bit more, and then you touch base after another weekend of them looking.
Good point. So I just changed the delay to 7 days because it makes sense. Now, next touch point in this one is going to be make a call.
Yep.
So the phone call, it comes up on your task list as phone call with your contact, first name, last name. And the purpose of this call is, what would you say, Josh?
Following up from your initial, prototypically, it depends on what your first conversation was and how it happened. So if you are, for me, it would be my initial contact was from an email sign up. We just had a quick conversation. What I would do from there is just make sure that whatever I'm sending over to them is meeting their needs. And my next real contact is about, hey, do you have time for a needs analysis? I want to jump right into that to make sure that whatever I'm sending them is going to be as pertinent as possible for what they're looking for and what their goals are.
Perfect. Perfect. And when you're having these follow-up conversations, they're going to think that you're just very good at recalling your previous conversation, which in reality, you've had these notes and you know what you are talking about in your reference.
Right. And that's actually that's the power of the CRM system, is that you never need to walk into a conversation not understanding what you're supposed to be talking about. All of these touch points are a continuation of the original conversation, and you want to continuously build and build and build to get that appointment.
All right. Next, we got another delay. Can change this from 1 day to 30 days. Any amount. Let's keep this one at 10 just to add a little bit more time.
Yep.
And this one is going to be send a value email to the contact. Then we have one more delay and then a text follow-up. Different options for text. This kind of relates to your like ABCD, how long is it going to be until you are interested in looking to buy, different pertinent ways of doing that. And then Smart Plan will restart. So Josh, so in a Smart Plan, there are easy ways of making this super passive by having emails. What's the importance of having calls within a Smart Plan?
Having calls within the Smart Plan is going to make them actually respond to you, right? So emails are and when we talk about lead generation, which is what we've been talking about now for an hour, when we're talking about that in terms, you have passive marketing and active marketing. Right? So we are mixing the passive with the active here. You're going to be following up, and it actually, the emails, the text messages, all of it gives you a reason to get in contact with that person. Okay. One thing to note when she said we're sending a value email, that value email should be based off of your initial conversation, right? So this 28-day, 8 steps, 3-touch program should be tailored based off of the different pools you're putting these buyers and sellers into.
Makes sense. Important to note with smart plans is that they do not save automatically unless you come up and click the big blue save button here. So say I have this all set, ready to go. There's nobody on this yet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a contact.
Is it me?
I don't think I saved your contact. I'm going to add myself first.
It just really hurt my feelings. That's fine. Mark, if you have limited contacts and are still able to follow up personally with a text, can the text part of the smart plan be a task, set as a task? Yes, it can. Not an issue.
Yes. What you can do. So I'm over here on the text option. What I could have done instead is just click create a task. Touch. I would make that text client. I like to note if it is through Twilio or not, just to have that kind of thing there. If you want to get rid of a step, great delete button.
Mark, so adding it as a task is fine. As your database grows, I would get out of the habit of sending the personal text messages unless they are in active conversation with you. You're going to find that it's going to take up a whole hell of a lot more time than you think it does. So just have a transition plan to a more automated. Yeah, just have a transition plan. Sarah, I just added birthday smart plan and assigned all of my contacts, but I don't see any future tasks. Does it take time to load? Did you go through the smart plan and what it looks like?
Sorry. Yeah, I did. Yep, I went through it.
So what are the tasks on the smart plan?
There's a couple of them. I think there's like 6 tasks. Let me go back to it, but it's send a text, send a handwritten note, do a social post. You know, I don't think I'll do that for all of them for each person.
Right.
But I don't see any tasks.
Lauren, correct me if I'm wrong. That should come up on your not opportunities page. Hold on. Let me do some research before I answer like the psychopath. Hold on. Interesting.
I would love for it to come up in my tasks because then, you know, it's part of my checklist and I won't forget someone's birthday.
No, I got you. I get it. Hold on. All tasks, all due dates, past due. Why is it doing this? So mine's a little different, just so you know, because I'm agent facing and not actual client facing anymore. Let me ask this question. Do I? I've got nothing to show. So awesome. Let me put a message out to Brooke. She might be able to answer that better. So give me 2 seconds.
Can I ask a question?
Please do.
So when people come to your open house, yep, or the open house and they write their contact information, yep, is that their way of giving us permission to call them or email them? Like, yeah, are we still obligated under that, like, do not call stuff?
You're always going to be obligated to make sure, but if they're giving their written permission, so when they're putting their email and phone number down, do you have permission to get into contact with them? So you'd be doing yourself a disservice by not adding them to the list. If they get back to you and say, do not call, that's when you take them off.
Okay.
Wonderful. All right. So just going along, I would add myself as a contact just to finally get this going. And I would start it. I start it now. So what this will do is in 7 days, it'll notify me to give myself a call. What I would do is I would add in any notes from the conversation, whether I picked up what we talked about and have those in the notes section.
Yep.
And that would give me the content to help continue on the nurturing.
So I just so you guys know, I just emailed Brooke Silva to jump on and answer that question, so I can give you the right information versus what I think is the right information.
Thank you.
No problem.
I have a question.
Sure. What's up,
Is
Gary?
there a way? Hey, how you doing, man? Is there a way to have command alert you through calendar outside externally? Because say, for instance, I'm not in front of my computer and I want to use my my smartphone during the day, which I always have with me.
Yep.
Is there a way for command to actually send alerts with the upcoming tasks?
So there's actually a command app now where you can actually manage all of that and might be able to sync. That's a great Brooke question as well. Hopefully she pops on and pops her head in here real quick and we can absolutely ask her that. I do not have that offhand. I'm not going to lie to you. Lauren,
Okay.
Do you have any idea?
I'm pulling up my command app right now. In terms of contact tasks, not sure how effective this is going to go, but up at the top, it's going to show
Wow, look at that.
tasks that are due today.
Okay.
It's going to say tasks that are due soon and tasks that are past due. It's also going to show me birthdays, any in the next 30 days that I have coming up, anniversaries, any in the next 30 days that I have coming up as well. And then it'll also highlight who to contact in terms of leads who I have never contacted or leads that have been recently active in the last 72 hours.
Okay, and that's on the command app you're on right now.
That's on the command
Yes.
app. Yeah.
Which I have that. I have that.
Looks like that. Yes.
Yeah, I was just wondering if it would, give you alerts like you get a new text message or, those types of things. I respond well to those.
I don't know, and I've used a number of different CRMs. I don't know many CRMs outside of the application or the terminal itself that will send you those types of notifications.
Okay.
Really, the long story short there is your command app should be oh, hello, Brooke. Show
Hi,
your
Brooke.
face. We got good questions for you.
Hi, friends. You have a tasks question, and I think I know how to answer it right away.
I have multiple questions for you.
right.
But
Can you
I will
stop sharing
allow
your-
the agents to ask directly versus me fumbling with the word.
Sure, you want to stop your screen share for a sec, and I'll share?
I'd love to. Do I need to make you a host or are you good?
No, I'm good. All right, everybody can see my command, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Tasks, come on. All right, so you have a tasks question, as in you put someone on a smart plan or you add a task and it doesn't show up right away?
I just added all of my contacts to a birthday smart plan and I wanted to show up in my tasks. Is that possible? I don't see it right now.
It will, and it's not going to show up until you have to do it.
Okay, that's what I was
So-
wondering. I filtered for like way into the future and still nothing came up.
Yep, you won't. It will auto trigger itself to it. So you could do later. And what's going to happen is they will show up. I know on birthday smart plans and anybody in my test account, so you won't see it. But what happens is it just will come up the 6 days before. So as long as you have people on birthday smart plans, it will come up 6 days before. It will show here. And it will also show on your dashboard if you've got that set up to have your tasks. And it will also show up on your phone in the birthdays and people you have to call today.
Okay, so it will show. I just need to trust.
Trust. I do it every day. Yeah, all the other ones. Yep.
Okay, thanks for explaining.
No problem. What else we got?
Gary,
Okay.
your good
Hi.
question.
Hi,
Yes.
Gary.
Hi, how are you, Brooke?
Good.
Great, good to hear it. So I was asking about the alerts. I do have the Keller Williams command app, which I'm looking at now, and it does show past due soon, due today. But my question was, say for instance, you get an email and you get an acknowledgement at the top of the screen stating that you have an email available. Is there a way that without going into the app, and this might be redundant now that I've just really understood what the app is doing, but is there a way to have your phone alert you or command alert you through your phone as to when these tasks are due outside of the app? I know it sounds crazy.
No, you have to use the app. The app is what creates the task notification. So like I see 5 on mine right now. So I have 5 tasks I have to come in and do today. So when you see those bubbles, that's how the app, you cannot, I think I know what you're asking. Can you sync it to like Google Tasks or your calendar? And that is a no. When we had our first iteration of the app called Kelly, what happened was agents got notifications for everything. So guess what you guys do?
Shut them off.
And ignore them. So notifications are for a few select things. And so the bell notification will go off when you've got a lead, a text response, different things like that. But could you imagine if you've got a data bank of 50,000 people and you've got them on smart plans and different things, you will go bananas, sir.
All righty. That's great.
Okay.
I have what I need.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Listen, we don't talk about how many tabs I have open.
No, they're disgusting. What you're
No,
doing
we don't,
right
but
now,
we don't talk about it. I got a lot of things going on in this head.
Brooke, what you're doing right now is a plague against this world. You
Whatever.
gotta close some of those out.
Let's see who answers your call for help next time, huh?
Hey, I'm teaching Ignite this morning, so
I love
I'm doing it as well.
Listen, I know what every tab means. It's all good. It's all good.
God. Thank you, Brooke.
All right,
I
friends.
appreciate you.
Thank you. All right, 1 second. Brooke took over.
We don't make fun of Brooke. We can't. She saves us, so don't make fun of Brooke. She's one of those people that if you have any tech question, any issue, anything like that, she will drop everything and she'll get on the phone with you. So I will give her credit behind the closed doors while she's not here.
Josh, can you re-give me a host status so I can
I
share
gotta
screen?
give you host status, huh?
She took it away from me when she hopped on.
Get there. Here we are. More. Booyah. Did it.
All right, there we go.
Good.
1 moment. Perfect.
All right, are we going into the qualification? I'm supposed to ask you, by the way, I'm supposed to ask you all, what are your ahas about smart plans? What are the benefits of adding contacts to smart plans, and how did this help cultivate leads? I think you guys all know the answers, but if there's anything else we want to ask questions about, let's do it now before we get into qualification leads.
I just have another question. The smart
Sure.
plans, I'm trying to utilize these and I've been trying to update my contacts.
Sure.
So the problem is I have a lot of people's, we're texters. So I have a lot of texting, but I don't have a lot of emails on people.
Okay.
I've been trying to get birthdays off of Facebook,
Okay.
that sort of thing. But I have yet, even my own, because I set myself up, I have yet to hit anything higher than 94% on the health
Yeah.
of the contact. I don't know what else to call it.
Okay.
Do you have any words of advice of how to get these tidbits of information?
It's honestly, it's simple. It's a reason for you to make a call, right? So like when you're thinking about getting into contact with people and working your sphere of influence, you always need a reason to get in touch with them. Okay. So this isn't necessarily a place of contribution. This is, I want to be able to contribute to you in a positive way in the future, but I don't have the information I need right now. So it's really easy for you to pick up the phone saying, hey, I'm just scrubbing my database. I'm not going to send you anything. It's going to be opt-in only. I'm not going to send you anything you don't want to hear, but I'm missing some information. I don't have a good email for you. And I don't have a birth date for you. Can we fill that in? Oh, and when you're having that type of conversation, Brenda, by the way, it's not, are you ready to buy or sell right now? It's just so you know, I'm trying to expand my database. Do you have anyone that might be interested in buying or selling the next 30, 60, 90 days? And would you be willing to send that referral my way? What's the worst thing that person can say? You're on mute, but I can read the lips.
Don't call me anymore.
Yeah, no, but people have been very receptive in my sphere. And I've gotten my listings from my spheres. Like I have to reach out to people that are not in my spheres. That's my next hurdle in life.
And that's the only way we grow is when we get uncomfortable, right? And that's a big time, Gary. That's a big Kellerism, right? You're green, you grow, you're ripe, you rot. So the only way we can continuously do a high book of business is by getting into those uncomfortable conversations. Worst thing they can say is no. You're a professional, be a professional. They say no. Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for your time. And you move on to the next one. We have to have the, what is it? Like a dog's memory, right? 7-second memory. Just move on to the next.
Josh,
Yeah,
can I ask a question?
please.
What is your experience with, or do you have experience setting up a Twilio account and sending automatic texts?
So I've never done it. Lauren is going to be a better sounding board on Twilio than I am. Potts, can you help me out, please?
Calling from Brit.
I've actually never used Twilio.
Okay.
Okay, great answer, everyone.
So
Value. Let me do me a favor, shoot me a note after this. Let me do some research for you and I'll get you a little bit more information on the ins and outs of it. Really, it's a leverage piece for you. Okay. And like Mark said before, you can always set those text messages up as tasks to start, but as your database grows, that's going to take a whole hell of a lot of time. And you'd rather send out probably through a third party.
My concern is that it's sort of introducing another phone number. So there's sort of like an automated piece. So
I hear what you're saying. I believe that it will show that it's coming directly from you though. So I think you have the autonomy to choose the number that it should show up on. Let me find out for you though. Again, my email's in the chat box. Shoot me a note and I'll get that info for you. Okay.
Okay. Thanks. I appreciate it.
No worries. Anything else?
Hi, this is Jahira. I have a question.
Sure.
So thinking about growing my business in my database, I already added all of my contacts in there, but I feel like I know a lot of people in the community and colleagues and stuff like that. So, but I don't necessarily have their phone number or email address. So how would I go about that?
Getting their phone number or email address. Do you have one or the other?
No, I don't have any. I just know them, like from the community, from my son playing sports and stuff.
So the other part of prospecting you could do is you could probably find them on Facebook and do messaging through Facebook Messenger. There are other services. I utilized White Pages. It was like $5 a month and I could get 20 contacts on the phone numbers. If you can get the phone number, I'd start with the phone number first and then backfill the email because at least you're able to have a conversation with that person.
Okay. And that's not considered soliciting, right?
I mean, most of all of lead generation is technically soliciting.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay. I think we're probably behind on time right now, aren't we?
Smidge, we're okay.
Okay, cool. So qualifying buyer leads. So obviously leads may be in different places. So we want to figure out what their readiness and ability to buy a new home is. So we're going to go over qualifying buyer leads and distinguish an A lead, a B lead, and a C lead. Buyer lead sheet. Do you want to pop that up on the shared screen?
Oh, yes.
If you can, please and thank you.
Moment. Give me 1 second, just because it's in my email. And this is going to be in your toolkit.
You are wildly close to the screen right now.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. There we go.
My eyes. All right, what page was that? I printed it, but. All right, do people have their toolkits handy by chance?
Don't all answer at once.
Like all
I
the
do
worksheets?
have a toolkit.
Okay. What we're looking for kind of looks like this. Janelle asked what page.
That is what I'm figuring out now.
Bear with us.
Buyer lead sheet, and it's going to be page 56 and 57. All right, I will share screen.
Thank you, Potts.
You're welcome. All right, appreciate the patience.
So I find the top part of this redundant, right? Because if you're actually going through a buyer lead sheet and qualifying the buyer, you probably have their name, email, street address, children's names, home phone, mobile number, and the best way to get in touch with them. Okay, so the top part's redundant. I find it kind of creepy that you're collecting the children's names on a sheet, but I guess that's probably to each their own, so to speak. The most important portion of this, if you can scroll down, please, is going to be the pre-qualification questions, right? And this is going to give you the roadmap of where they are in the buying cycle. So you're going to be asking, have they worked with an agent before? Who's going to be buying in the buying decision with you? Who's going to be living with you? How long you've been looking for? Why are you moving, etc. And then on the back page is when we get into the nitty gritty. Are you renting right now? Do you already own a home? Are you going to be buying or selling that home to buy a home? When are you done with renting, basically? When's your lease up? How are you going to pay? Cash mortgage? Have you talked to a lender? Can I get you in touch with a trusted partner of mine? What's your price point? Who else is involved? How quickly would you like to buy? Right. So this is really the roadmap on how you can qualify, which will put you into the different terms of an A buyer is able, ready, and willing to purchase. B is able and ready, but not right now. And C is not ready, which will also give you an opportunity to tailor your communication with these people, right? So you're not going to be communicating the same way with a C buyer as you are an A. An A buyer is probably someone you're talking to multiple times a week. A C buyer is someone you're going to touch once a month. B is every couple of weeks, right? And just trying to stay top of mind. Stay top of mind. Let's see. So let's see where we are. I apologize. So what else can you do in each stage to ensure they are nurturing their leads, that you are nurturing your leads? I love the silence, guys.
Can you rephrase that by chance?
Just
Yeah.
stay connected with them, I guess. Just keeping you in their minds to let you know that you're there for them, I guess.
Sure. And that's good. Pot's telling me I should rephrase that means that I absolutely messed up with the phrasing of the question in the first place. So it's probably incoherent babble coming out of my mouth. So I apologize.
Oh, I thought that was for me to rephrase.
No. It's me. It's me.
No. I keep him humble.
She does. She makes fun of me all the time. It's nice. So understanding what stage they're in, what should you be doing other than your normal nurtures? What should you be doing or could you be doing to continue them on the nurture process into home buying? So quick examples, obviously, are smart plans and command. That's going to make your life a whole hell of a lot easier. And another one, which we have an opportunity to do through command as well, is create a neighborhood landing page for the lead. i.e. basically it'll show the area that they want to live in and market stats, information, homes in that area, and so on and so forth. It's specifically tailored to that person. I don't have an issue with that, but I also don't love that idea, because when they're doing, you really only want them going to one place to find the information. And as long as they're searching with you through your application or your website already, you've done the hard lifting. By introducing another website for them, they're going to get confused and just not understand why they're only seeing a one sheeter, so to speak. It's clever, don't get me wrong, and it's a good capture tool, but not when you're this far down where you're already in the nurture process, not the lead capture process. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. Okay. Let's move on. Before we get there. Sorry. Yep, we already went over that. Apparently, I'm supposed to give you guys an example of how I've used this tool. Again, anything that you're doing on a buyer lead sheet or a needs analysis is meant for you to build credibility in the marketplace, right? It's meant for you to understand that their time is valuable, and therefore your time is also valuable. By getting the information up front, by going through these exercises before you even go look at a property with them, you're making sure that they understand that you're streamlining their process for the long run. Part of that as well is, let me take a look. Part of that is also getting them in touch with trusted partners of yours. So always have a lender that you have in your back pocket, and the importance of having a lender that you can not necessarily push those people to, but introduce those people to, is you're having their best interest in mind, and having a lender that you communicate really, really well with. They're not always, so I would go towards a mortgage broker versus a credit union, because they're going to have more tools, and they're going to have more, what's the right word for that? More, not product, I guess loan products, yeah, at their disposal, right? So they're going to be able to go through 100 to 150 different loan products to find what's going to be right for your buyer, versus a credit union or a big bank. They are going to be they're going to be pushing their own products. So if you have someone that you work really, really well with, always use that person, build trust between them, and the referral process will go back and forth. Sorry for the side tangent. Okay. Role play, qualify your buyers. So we got 10 minutes here. Actually, you know what? Do you guys want to take a quick break? That way we'll come back, we'll role play, and we'll take 10 minutes then. Does that sound good for all of you?
Yes.
Okay,
Sounds
let's
good.
take a quick break. It is 10:30. We'll pick this back up at 10:40. Interesting.
What?
All righty.
Guys, welcome back, Gary.
That was awesome.
I like it. Good.
We had a little fun.
I can only imagine, Gary. You seem
Yeah.
like a fun guy.
Yeah, you do.
I'm holding back. Trust me, most of the time. I'm really
Yeah,
hyper.
So Gary, I was half sold.
You can come hang out with us.
Hey, you have to make things laughable sometimes in order to,
Right.
you know.
I like the networking aspect of it myself.
Mm-hmm.
These could be your co-bros soon. So
Exactly. Getting to know people is half the battle, and then understanding what's the best way to communicate with them. One thing that got brought up by one of the groups I jumped into is it is very, very hard to feel and seem conversational going off of this sheet, right? Like the most important thing to understand about this is that it's not the formulation of how you say it, but making sure that the questions do get asked. So the best thing you can do is internalize this sheet, right? Have an understanding of the goal of the sheet is to find out what your buyers or sellers pain points are, and then be able to write a prescription based off those pain points. And these questions are just a roadmap to it. However you want to ask them, however you want to bring it up in conversation, that's up to you. But somehow most of 80% of these questions should be asked.
Mm-hmm.
What else did we take away from that exercise?
I had an observation.
Sure. Shoot it.
I tried to focus on listening and reiterating what the person stated, but at the same time looking ahead, because I haven't internalized the information well enough yet, but just looking ahead to have the next question kind of loaded. You know, I wasn't racing through it, but I just wanted to make sure I listened, reiterated, and then had the next question loaded based upon their response. But I found that when I didn't focus enough on those next options, that it seemed more artificial.
Yeah, dead air is when you're trying to find out information is going to be your worst enemy, right? Where it feels like you're reading off of the script. So the long story short of all of this is the fact that the more you practice and the more you do these types of exercises, the better off you're going to be in the long run. Right. Yep. So, and don't get me wrong, this entire sheet is not really what you want to get down to. It is, are you working with an agent?
Mm-hmm.
Who's making the buying decision with you? What's your current living decision? The big one is, why are you looking to move? What is the motivator behind that? And then, have you talked to a lender? Do you even know what your affordability is at this point? And by getting to the motivation of it, who should be in on the conversation, and just having an idea of what their timeline is, and if they need a professional to get them to that next level of pre-qualification, pre-approval, you're golden.
Mm-hmm. I got halfway there.
I jumped into your room for a second. I was like, oh boy, he is getting put through the ringer. My God.
It's my fault, John. I was trying to be like
don't worry about it.
It's all good.
No, it's good. It's good. That's all good. Anything else you guys want to go over? Anything that wants to be pointed out, Stacy?
In the chat, Stacy was trying to figure out also what should be asked initially versus what would be discussed at the first buyer's appointment. Also, should we set a buyer's appointment if they aren't pre-approved?
Right. So the initial buyer's appointment should be A, figuring out this information, and B, also their needs analysis, right? So that is, I look at that as a good give and take, right? They're giving you the information you need to know to do a good job. You're giving them the information they need to understand about the feasibility of their search. Should you set a buyer's appointment if they aren't pre-approved? Yes. And the reason for that is it gives you an opportunity to help them get pre-approved. So then you're going one step forward in your suite of services, right? You're going to look a whole heck of a lot better if you introduce them to a mortgage broker that you trust, that you communicate well with, that can give them a roadmap to getting that pre-approval and i.e. buy a home later on down the road. So yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That was helpful. What you just said was helpful because I'm nurturing a buyer scenario right now. So the person mentioned their credit union, and it sounded good at the time when they spoke to me about it. And I'm on a monthly contact regimen with this person. So they mentioned their credit union, and I definitely have acquired some vendors, and I know a particular vendor that has multiple abilities to find different types of loans and whatnot, and in terms of lending. So I know I'm going to reach out to them as soon as I'm done here today and make that statement and move it forward and just leave it alone for a second before I schedule the appointment. But that's
yeah, and that's a very good idea. The other thing I would ask is why they are so comfortable with just the credit union, right? Is it the rate? Is it the fact that they've probably done other business with them or they have an account there? Some people are just, they don't know what they don't know.
Right. And that's the case, but she's comfortable with it and very receptive to new information, though. That's the good thing about it.
Right. And if she's telling you, oh, hey, I can get a 3.4 rate, but you have a vendor that can get her a 3.2 rate, no points. And by the way, you've worked with that person or you know that person well, and you're going to make it ease of transaction, and you have control over, because some of the credit unions now, like, I mean, I ran into a situation back in May where we got an offer on a property, and the bank was Santander. And I told my seller, don't wait for another offer. Don't take it, because they're telling you it's going to be a 40-day close. Santander had a mandatory 90-day close.
Wow.
Right. So there are credit unions and there are big banks out there where they know no matter what in this market, the business is going to come in. So they dictate how long it's going to be on close. It makes the buyer less aggressive. Right. So you got to figure out if there is a mandatory time to close from that credit union as well. And that'll help you out in the long run too.
Absolutely. That's good information. Thank you.
No worries. All right. We're going to wrap up today's module by learning about the buyer agency agreement. It's a contract you're going to sign with your buyer to ensure they're your client. I think you guys all probably know what that is at this point. And if you don't, you should. Okay. So at this point, we have found leads. We have cultivated those leads. We have nurtured those leads. We have had an appointment with those leads. Now it's time for how we ask for their business, right? We sign the buyer agency agreement. That buyer agency agreement basically says that you are going to be their representative and that you are the procuring cause of the sale, and you are due payment based on the work that you've done for the buyer. There are a couple of different, I'm sort of going to skip ahead a little bit. You're going to get a lot of pushback on these, right? Because they want to shop around. It's like, well, I only want to work with the agent that found me the home. And the best way to push back on that is, okay, sorry, Kirsten, I have so much to do. Kirsten, let me answer that real quick. I would call Citizens Bank. Citizens Bank is, personally, I got a HELOC through them. It was a nightmare. I would run away from Citizens Bank as fast as you can.
Okay, thank you so much. So,
yeah, no worries.
Because I really want her to talk to a mortgage broker and expand her options anyway. So this gives me a good way to overcome her objection.
Yeah, so two things. One, when you get a loan with Citizens Bank, they make you open up an account through them as well. And that is not a free checking account. That is a paid for checking account. It is like a $5 monthly fee. So unless they are already banking with Citizens Bank and have a different product through them, in the long run, it is going to be a hassle. Secondly, transfers into Citizens Bank take between 2 and 3 business days. Like the rigmarole on how to get that paid off online is just going to be too much of a pain in the neck anyway, from a user standpoint. So personal experience, I wouldn't use them. Take it for what it's worth. I'm not going to tell you I'm not going to, mandate that you don't use them or not, but I think you'd be doing your client a disservice by not bringing up these issues.
All right. Thank you.
No worries. Okay. Let me see. Finding the motivator is the first step in turning a warm lead into a closed client. By completing the buyer lead sheet and grading your buyer's ABC, you should be able to determine when you can ask for their business. So ask for the business, So these are all sort of trial closes. It's ask for the business, when will we be ready to buy? Ask for the appointment, will tomorrow at 3 or Friday at 1 work for you to discuss buying a home? And then assess the lead's financing needs. Have you spoken with a lender or pre-qualified to purchase a home online? So we've already talked about this, right? And that's all part of getting them. So the way I look at this is the fact that asking about the pre-qualification process or pre-approval process, it gives you an opportunity to also trial close, like, oh, you haven't talked to someone? Well, if you sign an agreement with me, I have X amount of professionals that you can work with that will get you the right rate and the right product you're looking for, right? That's just another way for you to tout your value add proposition. Also, big thing here for fair housing, if you are offering to introduce them to a lender for one buyer or help them get pre-qualified, you must do it for all buyers. You cannot pick and choose who you are going to be helpful to. That is a fair housing violation if you do not offer the same service across the board. Are we all clear on that?
Yes.
Cool. Yep. So the importance of the buyer's representation agreement, again, without an agreement, that buyer may not be your client, okay? That means they can go through any other agent, and whether or not you're the procuring cause of the sale, that's gonna be a much more, it's gonna be a massive headache for you. So there's a couple of things, and your biggest ace in the hole when you're talking about this agency agreement is the fact that the minute they sign that with you, you are now a fiduciary for them. You have to act in their best interest, okay? So it's not only are you due payment when you, if and when you do close, you must act in their best interest at all times. That means they have an ace in the hole at all times, whether or not they're negotiating contract, how they're writing an offer. The offer must be in the best interest of the buyer. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. So that's my biggest tip, the fiduciary aspect of getting that thing signed. Secondly, and there's a number of different ways. You can also reverse it on them. Are you, depending on what they are professionally, right? Are they going to do work for you without a contract? Like, in their own professional opinion, are they going to, you're going to say, oh, you know what, I don't want to sign a contract, but you know what, go ahead and build that retaining wall for me anyway. And I promise you I'll pay you. Not a chance in hell, right? This is the same thing. We want to make sure that you're able to have the autonomy to do the work necessary to find them the right home and help them through the entire agreement, right? Without that guarantee of payment, you could be working tens of 20s of hours without payment. So that agreement is necessary for you to have the peace of mind to do the best job you can do. Are there any questions on this?
Yes, I do.
Cool.
All right. So I am currently, I got certified in Massachusetts. I live in Connecticut. I got my license in Mass first, did reciprocity in Connecticut, but my first listing opportunity and two buyers opportunities are both in the state of Mass.
Sure.
I'm sure there's a difference between the forms from state to state.
Yep.
And also I have to go back into my, being fresh out of the certification, I can go back to my books and go and read what I need to read, but I'm going to ask you while we're here.
Right.
I know that there's a difference in the forms and the legal responsibilities from state to state.
Sure.
You're in Rhode Island?
No, I'm Massachusetts.
You're in Mass. So the actual form for the buyer, and I'm sure it's different in Connecticut, the legal responsibilities in Massachusetts are they as, you might not know, but are they strong in supporting your agency as in terms of you representing buyer? Is it stronger for the buyer or for you? Do they have an easier time getting out of that relationship with you than you do with them? That's my question.
It's mutually beneficial, is how I look at it, right? So and we all know this, with written consent, you're able to get out of every real estate contract, right? Other than a PNS, there has to be certain pitfalls there, but an offer is able to be rescinded with written consent, right? You rescind the offer, you write it out, say, hey, I'm canceling my offer, I'm just pulling it. That's it. Same thing with a buyer's agency contract. That's the other thing too to keep in mind here is the fact that you get down a month into it and they say, hey, it's just not working out. We put it in writing, we sign a release, that's it, it's done. So it's not stronger on our terms or their terms. Okay. Going into the contract it's not 100% foolproof that no matter what, they're going to work with you the entire time, right? All real estate contracts are cancelable with written consent. And that's sort of how I would answer that question. Okay. It holds you to still maintaining the same level of service from day 1 through day 60. Right. So if your service slips, they have that right. They have that right to say, I'm going to look at another agent at this point. That's why you always have to stay on your toes. Don't ever get comfortable. Just continuously always building and bringing your A game every day.
Okay. So here's a scenario that I'm speaking of. I won't hold up too much of your time.
No, don't worry about it. That's what I'm here for.
You're in the process and this person decides that they don't want to work with you anymore, but you've shown them 3 houses.
Yep.
The 3 houses, out of the 3 houses, they decided that they liked one, and then they go back door and talk to the owner and purchase that house. Where does that protect you? Having shown it to them, or is there any protection unlike a listing?
So did this actually happen to you?
No.
Okay. If you have proof that you were their agent during that time of that first showing, and then they went directly to the owner afterwards, you have a right to go to the real estate board and licensure to be for a procuring cause of the sale. What I would tell you to do in that instance is get in touch with your broker, the owner of your KW, and they can act on your behalf. So you'll have to have rigorous checks and balances with that, where there's proof that you were their agent at the time of showing, they canceled the contract, and then they went backdoor on it, right? So there's no lack of a better term, people are just shitty sometimes, and that would be awful. It's not and there's no clear path to you getting paid there either. They may throw you a referral, which would be nice. But yeah, that stuff happens, right? That always happens because there's in that sense the agent did not do enough to prove their value. They did not do enough to show that the value add proposition as not only their agent, but as a negotiator and as a fiduciary. They didn't do enough. So it always is going to go back to the agent that you could always do more. Don't get me wrong. That'll work 99% of the time. There's always going to be 1% of the population that thinks they know better than you and are smarter than you and can do everything better than you can. Some people are just shitty. It's probably not the answer you wanted to hear, but it's the truth.
No, I like the truth. That's fine. I'm good.
Okay. Where are we? Potts, where are we right now?
We're at the best part of the class. Ahas.
What's that? Ahas.
He hates the word aha, so I like to use it whenever I can.
Do you?
What are your ahas today, Josh?
No one teaching the class. Frankly, this is the second time that I've had the opportunity to teach at Ignite. The first time I was more of a bystander and we had limited participation. What I have found refreshing is the fact that all of you have been very engaged. You've asked very good questions, and I think you guys have a good mindset going into this and asking the right questions to be successful. So my aha today is good on all of you and way to make me look good. I appreciate that.
Yeah, okay.
So
we're gonna go to the ahas to achievement section in your participant guide if you have that handy.
Thank you, Lauren.
It's me bringing the value. And we're gonna write down ahas you have for each category, including how has your thinking changed? What do you feel differently about? How will your behaviors be different going forward? And then what tools, models, or systems will you definitely use? We'll take the next 5 minutes to recap some of that. We'll get back. We'll share at 11:15. How's that?
Good. Thank you.
This is going to be in your workbook. Let me see. I don't know if you guys have a digital copy or a print copy. Let me check. Is this something that looks like this? Digital in the drive, perfect. It's gonna be probably the last page. It's gonna be page 7 of today's section, which is Spark 7. All right, we're gonna bring it back and share some ahas and takeaways. All right. How has your thinking changed regarding finding and winning the buyer? Would love to have at least 2 responses on this one.
I was going to say it's okay to expect loyalty from a buyer.
In what sense?
In the sense of having them sign an agreement. Like I've spoken with so many brokers who have said, I never ask a buyer to sign an agreement. And I really don't know why. I don't know what the rationale is there, because it is very time consuming, you know, to look for those listings, and you should be compensated for it.
Especially in this market. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'd also say it comes down to the mindset too, right? It's fear mindset, where they can work with, they can find as many agents. And unfortunately, the hard part is that the consumer right now thinks that agents are a dime a dozen.
Right.
And it comes back to demonstrating your value add proposition, what you bring to the table that's going to be different and better than everyone else in the marketplace. And as soon as you internalize that, the easier it is for you to ask for that buyer's agency agreement. But a lot of the brokers are saying, I don't have people sign it, is because it's a fear mindset. Because once the contract becomes real, it means that they actually have to keep it together. And there's an expectation that you're going to find them a home.
Isn't that the whole point though? You know, isn't that what the job is?
Right. Which is the crazy part about it. Like, if you're not going to, and it comes back to hiring a contractor, right? Is that contractor going to do any work for you without that contract, right? Without something written, without payment, without guarantee? No. Why should it be any different for a real estate agent? Good. What else? Give me more ahas. Doesn't have to be an aha. It can just be anything. It could be in question. Whatever you guys want to talk about. I want to make sure this is an open forum and your questions are getting answered.
Well, I'll say this. My thinking has changed a bit because I've become a little bit more comfortable with utilizing command.
Sure.
I have a busy day. This is my second business, so like you, I'm doing 2 different things.
Right.
And so coming out of one mindset and into another, it's been a struggle at my 57 years of my life, having done one thing for the last 27 years.
Right.
And not having the leverage and the assistance and the educational aspect of it together. I built that business on my own, watching my parents do their thing. So just changing my mindset and understanding the tools that are available.
Yep.
And holding myself accountable for my own growth, because this is something that, my why is very strong. And these classes are very helpful at giving a gentle reminder of how doable it actually is.
Yep.
And because of technical reasons, I haven't been on too many of them. Going from Windows to Mac has been a killer for me. So I've been losing my mind. Okay. And now I'm back and I have some type of control over the scenario now. And so I'm really thankful for that, because I really appreciate every level of what's being presented, because we learn different things from different people in different ways.
Good.
People can say the same thing, but say it differently. And I can gravitate to one, style in this area, in that area. And I really appreciate all that you guys are doing. I just wanted to say that.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much, Gary. And if you have issues with PC to Mac, get in touch with Brooke Silva. She'll help you out.
Yeah, I should have.
That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for.
I should have last month, but but I'm stubborn. I'm very stubborn, and I'm like, I'm gonna beat this thing into the ground until I know how to get around it, because I learned from the problem. That's the way I learn. That's the way my brain works. So that problem might slow me down, but
and you just wasted a month on something that's very rudimentary. Good on you.
I didn't waste it though. I have a listing coming up, and I have 2 buyers on the plate, so I didn't waste it.
All right, fair enough. Good on you. Good on you. Anyone else? Anyone we haven't heard from? What do we got? Let's talk. Give me your takeaways. Good, bad, otherwise. What do we got?
What kind of actions are we going to take going forward after sitting through this class?
Lauren Potts coming in with a big question.
So Henry say here, yeah, I think I need to use the smart plans a lot more. Really set it up, spend time, just set it up, let it do its own thing. Because I think that's the key, because I can't just constantly calling. I got to use some automation, I think, coming out of this, because in the past, I always want to be in control. And sometimes the smart plans, you kind of just blast out there. You don't know what is out there.
Right.
So I think I have to trust the smart plans and just let it do its thing.
So in the other portion of it too, there can be the best of both worlds, right? Customize your own smart plan. Utilize the cadence is important of the smart plan. Okay. So the cadence is important. You know, those touches are going out there. Make sure the messaging matches your messaging on how you're having conversations every day. Right. So when you're actually getting belly to belly, face to face, or on the phone, you're having a certain cadence, a certain conversation, there's certain touch points that you utilize and always bring up. So if that's the case, your smart plan should be matching that as well.
Okay. And how many smart plans people run at the same time?
Run as many as you want.
Just keep running, just set them off, just let it go.
Sort
of. See what comes back.
So you should have an understanding, and you should be, and that kind of goes into tagging, right? So you should be tagging everyone that's in your database as here's where they are in the sales pipeline. Mm-hmm. This person's investor. Okay, everything that I'm sending them is going to be investor based, right? This person is an A buyer. This is B. This is a C. This is my potential sellers. These are the people that responded to an ad that has said they want market value, right? What's with the home? What's the market value of my home, right? So the more segmented you get and the more information you have on these people, the better you can tailor the information you're sending them.
Okay.
It's not rocket science.
That's what we're kind of doing, like tagging, and very specific smart plans to dose certain labels, like investors, only investors get them, and stuff like that, not first-time home buyers.
Right.
So we started doing that. It seems like that is the smart thing to do on these smart plans.
That's why they're aptly named, right? So it's going to be beneficial. Like sending information out there for the sake of sending information out there it's useless, right? They say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. You're not going to get a different result unless you actually have a very clear understanding of who and why you're talking to people you're talking to.
Cool. Well, thank you.
No worries. No worries. Anything else? Am I supposed to read this, Lauren?
I'll read it.
Thank you.
Okay, so you guys are familiar that Ignite is split up into two different sections, the first half being Spark, the second half being Elementals. The goal of Spark, which is the first half that runs through Friday, is for you guys to get your first appointment. The tasks on this slide are the activities that you should be doing to help you reach that goal of your first appointment. So this can include adding 10 contacts to command, having 10 conversations a day, 10 handwritten notes, 10 home previews.
Okay, I like that. The other thing that I would challenge you all to do, you guys have all heard the term scrub your database. Yes, no, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. What that actually means is get in contact with the people in your database to backfill any information or update that information. It is a very, very simple way for you to make calls with the action and idea of either A, just updating the information, B, seeing if they're interested in being in the market, or C, if they have any referrals for you. It is the softest way to do it, right? Hey, I'm calling to update your information right now. I don't have a good email. The last email I have on file for you is something at AOL.com because yay, good for you. I'd love to get an updated email. Oh, awesome. Great. So just so you know, as a reminder, I'm also in real estate. Would you be interested in getting just market updates on what's going on in your neighborhood? Okay, you would. That's awesome. And finally, just a small little favor. I don't want to over inundate you, and I don't want to contact you too much. Do you have any idea if you know of anyone that could be selling in the next 6 to 12 months? And if so, would you be willing to just give me an introduction? It's the entire conversation right there. again, worst thing they can say to any of those questions is no. It's the worst thing they can say. So when we're talking, and I think what we're supposed to do after this is spend an hour lead generating.
We're doing some script practice right now.
We are?
We are.
Great. I love that. What? I don't even know where I am right now. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. My stuff's everywhere.
A important start of getting into the habit of being a successful agent is memorizing and internalizing scripts. Scripts are important because you are basically showing your credibility as an agent through your knowledge. I don't know. I'm out of order.
Right
I'm reading and I'm saying stuff.
Did you
it's not
internalize
coming
this,
out.
or you're able?
Okay, so it says that learning scripts is important because you're practicing and internalizing scripts that help you grow your business. These are tried and true scripts that have worked for agents in the past. Hate to break it to you, you're not the first real estate agent ever. Other people have had business before. More people have sold houses in the past. These are scripts that have already worked. Just as actors need to practice scripts consistently in order to be credible to an audience, agents need to do the same in order to be credible to clients or prospective clients.
It's the same idea of internalizing the buyer lead sheet as well, right? You're trying to get a means to an end. You're trying to solicit an answer. And the more confident you are in saying what you need to say, the better off you're going to be. Does anyone have questions on why scripts are important? Gonna take that as a no.
They show confidence.
Yep.
They uncover motivation. They help you deliver your value. I think that's what's most important.
Yep, they do. You don't need to have 50 scripts either. You just need to really, and this goes into the mindset of something we had a meeting on yesterday, Lauren. Figure out what you do really, really well. Henry, good. It's a roadmap. Obviously, you've noticed that Lauren and I really don't have a roadmap for this class, just by the amount of circle talking we've done. But what I will say, and you're right, Henry, it is a roadmap. Internalize 2 to 3. 2 to 3 ones that you will know like the back of your hand that will be able to get you into any conversation you want to get into, right? We're not trying to recreate the wheel. Scripts should be your comfort zone. The more comfortable you are having these types of conversations one-on-one, the better off you're going to look, the more confident you're going to be, the better you're going to be in the long run. As a reminder, compliance, the do not call registry, subscribe to the registry, update your call list regularly, know the state and federal laws, check before you call, and honor consumers' wishes. Jacqueline Martin asked, when it comes to lead generation, after you have added all contacts from phone and your sphere, where do you get 10 more every day? Passive marketing and prospecting. So circle calling, geo farming, mofer ads. Have you guys heard the term mofer yet? Lauren's gonna laugh at me. I need someone to respond. Anyone? No. Got it. MOFR stands for make an offer for immediate response, right? So we're going to write ads and we're going to get in touch with our community with the idea that we need an immediate response. What that has looked like in the general marketplace. I mean, you've seen the like you buy ugly houses people. That's a make an offer for immediate response, right? Other make offers for immediate responses are, blind CMA requests, which would be find out how much your home is worth today, and they add in a form. These are all really, really simple ways for you to add people into your database and into your lead generation tactics. But remember, think of lead generation in marketing as a full web, right? All of these different answers like Facebook and Google and geofencing and mailers and door knocking and Popeyes, all of these things should be working hand in hand with one another for a reason for you to respond. So long story short, everywhere and anywhere is where you should be adding people in. Go to the grocery store, just walk into people, strike up a conversation. Again, we have agents that do that and do that really, really well. It's not something I would have done. I am not comfortable doing that. I am not going to lie to you. I have no idea how they even go from talking about oranges to real estate. It's not my forte. So figure out what your best mode of communication is going to be, and then figure out what marketing is going to support that, right? If you're a fantastic text message marketer or an email marketer, then you would be much better off online lead generating, i.e. utilizing your CRM system, have ads on Facebook, have ads on Google. And I'm not talking spend tens of thousands of dollars, $50 a month. $50 a month should get you, call it $2 a lead, about 25 new leads. But your messaging matters. Yes, just think back to bold if you have it, if you've taken it. Think back to it. Lead generation is a constant activity, and that time should be protected. And Gary says this as well, with jealousy. Without leads, without lead generation, you don't have a business. You don't have a sphere of influence. You can only market to the same people over and over and over again. So we have to constantly be adding to that pool. Any other questions? Did that answer the question? What about getting buyer leads by teaming up with a mortgage broker to run 2-hour free first-time home buyer seminars at local libraries, focus on no or low down payment mortgages, and general short intro to the home buying process? Those can and do work, but they are better lead generating sources for the lender, right? Because they're going to have to go through the lender first before choosing the agent. So if you have someone that you work with and it's worked in the past and you have an actual formula for how that can work for you, then yes, do it. Don't get me wrong. Getting in touch with those end users, knowing that they're interested in being a first-time home buyer, awesome. Those are great resources, and those should be generational buyers and sellers with you, right? If you do a good job on that first intro, they'll be there forever. Sorry, did someone just cut me off? Talk. Did someone just chime in? I didn't see. No? Okay. It is a very good idea, and don't get me wrong, that's going to be more of a nurture process though. It's going to be better for the mortgage broker though than it is for you, because they're going to have those products that they need for no or low down payments. You're just being a value add to the broker to kind of give the roadmap on how to get into that type of home, right? Okay. So if you can demonstrate your, I hate worth. Worth is the wrong word for it, but if you can demonstrate your worth on how to write an aggressive contract during that class, where in this market, a no or low down payment is going to be seen less aggressive than most other buyers with 10, 15, or 20% down. So you're going to have to really think about what you bring to the table to make that type of loan product work.
Okay. No, I understand that it's the seller's market right now, but I was just wondering in terms of niche that maybe there are a lot of buyers out there who feel like the down payment itself is such a hurdle for them. It's such a stumbling block.
Yep.
To home ownership.
So I would, and that's actually easily is the wrong word. You need to have a certain amount of trust already built up with bringing up this type of subject. But think about renting right now too. You need same credit score, if not above, fervent background checks. You need references, not to mention you're probably going to need first, last, and security deposit, which could equal up to, in this average rent right now, somewhere around $2,000 a month, potentially. Yep. That's another $6,000. That could easily be a 3% down payment on what would that be? $200,000, $300,000 property. Am I right? I don't even think I'm right now. Let me see what that is. Is that right? That's not right. That's 3 million. Sorry, guys. My math is awesome. Yeah, it'd be yeah, it'd be a 3% down payment on $200,000 property. Yeah. Thank you, Mark. Thank you for chiming in after I did math for 2 minutes like a psychopath. Appreciate that. So I think getting into a rental right now is equally difficult as the actual down payment for a home. The other portion of that too, and this is more about qualifying the buyer, right? And it's making sure that you've qualified yourself as the expert. The difference between renting and owning is equity. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, equity. They're not building any equity, right? They're not building any value. They're not building worth. And that is really different. So if you can find an apartment that they're looking to rent or a home they're looking to buy, where the upfront cost for i.e. the down payment is similar, where you can show them what the market has done over the last 2 years and where it could go in the next 2 years based on what their monthly payments are and how much equity they'll have in the home. On a rental, it'll be $0. On a single family or a townhome, it could be tens of thousands of dollars.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Good. All right, Potts, where are we?
We are jumping into script practice with the Spark script book.
Okay. For the next, so we are, God, we got way off. We're way off track. Do you want to do, I'll leave it up to you guys. Do you want to do script practice, which I think will probably be more helpful because you're supposed to end this entire thing with an hour of lead generation after all we've learned. Are you guys more comfortable with script practice and then we can do ahas after that and I'll let you guys lead generate on your own? Or do you want to jump right into lead generation and we can do ahas after that? It's up to you guys.
Scripts are good.
Okay, scripts are good. Is that the consensus with everyone?
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
All right. Does everyone have their Spark script book handy?
I don't even have it.
Yes, you do. I printed it for you.
Did you?
Yes.
Right. Is this one scripts for working with buyers? Is this the one?
Yes. What page is that in your?
Can you put in a chart, please?
Yes. What?
Thank you.
Let me check. 1 second.
Open a window. 1,000 in here.
Don't think this is it.
13.
Hmm?
Is it in toolkit or
Hmm.
where did you find this yesterday?
Right here. All right. I'm going to share. When it loads. Give it a second. All right, I'm popping this in the chat.
Thank you.
I will leave it up while we're here. Let's see what we got. Oh, Josh, this is different than what I printed yesterday for you.
Great.
All right, Ford. You guys are familiar with Ford, correct?
Family,
occupation,
occupation,
yeah.
recreation, dream.
Love it.
Got it.
Perfect. Let's find a script that's relevant to buyers. Let's see.
I want to door knocking.
Let's door knock.
This is very different than what you gave me yesterday.
I'm just looking at what they told me to open up, the Spark script book.
Where'd you find what you sent me yesterday?
The toolkit.
Thanks, appreciate that.
You want me to open that one instead?
No.
Okay.
So apologies. When we got to the script portion, when we went through this yesterday, actually, these scripts are all around very, very soft, easy openings where it's no matter what, everyone basically just yeses you to death. And I don't think that is going to be beneficial to you guys. I think more often than not, you're going to hear "I'm not interested," yada, yada, yada. So
this is it.
Yeah, this is the one that I had from yesterday, which is we can go through schedule the buyer consultation appointment, which I'm not sure. Okay, Janelle.
I agree.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's the same every class. Like we're just like reading off, which I love, but like we do script practice in every class. So like we're getting it. But like if we were given like different scenarios, like team A, you do this, team B, this is your scenario, and we don't know what each other's scenario is, then it'll be a little more interesting than just reading it every single time.
Sure.
I don't hate that.
Let's make it, yeah.
We'll go off the cuff. I'm good with that.
I love it. All right. Who would like to volunteer? I pick Gary.
All right. Okay.
All right. Let's find. Josh, would you like to work with Gary and demonstrate to the class?
Sure.
All right. Let's have Josh be the agent and Gary be the prospective buyer.
Okay. What's the
Sounds good.
scenario? You create the scenario, Potts.
Scenario. They are a first-time home buyer.
Okay.
And they're currently renting and they want to stay in the same county.
Same county.
Sure.
Same county.
They're renting and now we're buying.
Okay. How did we find this person?
Open house.
Open house. Awesome. Okay, Gary, you ready?
Ready.
Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, I'm looking for Gary.
Gary speaking. How can I help?
Hey, Gary, this is Josh Wolf. I'm with KW Elite in North Attleboro, Massachusetts. How are you today?
Hey, Josh, I'm doing pretty well, but just first off, I want to ask, how did you get my information?
So we actually met this past weekend at the open house you were attending to at
yeah.
123 Main Street. Yep. So I'm actually just doing a quick follow-up. We had a conversation. You guys are renting right now. And I wanted to touch base with you on what your roadmap forward into home ownership is. How far along are you in the process?
Well, we've just been visiting different open houses and taking a peek at different neighborhoods, trying to fill out the communities and see what's best for our family.
Okay. And what's your family look like right now?
Well, there are 4 of us in the household, my wife and I, and our 2 children.
Okay. And is it, I'm assuming your wife will also be involved in the decision-making process for you to purchase a home, correct?
Yeah.
Thanks, Henry. Nice job. Excellent. When it comes down to what you're looking for, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the North Attleboro area the main location for you, or are you looking for a wider area?
That's the main location. I don't want to be too far away from our parents.
Okay. And where do your parents live?
South Attleboro.
Just Attleboro, Massachusetts. Okay. So you want to be probably within 10 to 15 minutes of your parents. 123 Main Street. Was that the right price point? I know we were listed at like 449. What about that home called to you?
Well, the land.
Okay.
Having room to do some things outside. I enjoy the setup of the property.
Okay.
It seemed as if it was something that would be very conducive to us having family over. That's very important for us.
Okay, so you're looking for over a half acre of land. It's a 3-bed, 2-bathroom. Is that about the size, or do you need more beds, more baths? It's a family of 4,
We need a little more. We need more. We need about at least 4 bedrooms.
Okay, all right. What about the price point? Is that the area you're looking in?
Yes, the price point was about where we need to be.
Okay.
I don't have a problem
Now,
at all.
is that based off your own budgeting, or have you actually talked to a lender before?
That's based upon our own budget. Yeah, we wanted to make sure that we were able to pay the mortgage based on one income only.
Okay, so based on one income, would it be helpful to actually really narrow down what your budget is by speaking with a lender? And I want to reiterate that any lender can do this for you, but I have a few that I've worked with quite extensively that can do a soft credit check on you. It won't affect your credit score in the long term. And by the way, if you don't like them, you can get another credit check through another credit union without any ill effects in the next 40 days.
Well, the soft credit check is definitely appealing. I
Okay.
maintain my credit score, worked a lot, to keep it where it is. So
Yep, I understand that. Okay, so here's my plan of action at this point, and what I'd love to do is do an exercise with you. If it's of interest, we can sit down and do a needs analysis, right? So I have an idea right now that you're looking for a larger lot of land. You need a little bit more room. Let's figure out, based off of your new price point after you speak with the lender, what the feasibility of what you're looking for is in the Attleboro area and surrounding towns. Do you think that's going to be a helpful exercise for you?
Absolutely. It could determine that we have a little bit more wiggle room. So yeah, I'd enjoy
Okay,
it.
so how does Friday work at 9 a.m.? I'll meet you at a coffee shop near you or wherever you'd like. You froze on me.
At 9 won't work for me. I'll be at work.
I'm sorry, one more time? You froze on me.
Friday at 9 will not be good. I'll be working.
Okay, what's a better time for you?
Let's see. I would say early evening after work before dinner. I'd say around 5 o'clock.
Okay. What's the best place for me to meet you?
We can do Dunkin' Donuts.
Okay, I'll meet you at the Dunkin' Donuts around the corner of your place, and I'll glad you buy you a coffee as well, a little afternoon pickup. Sound good?
You might not want to do that. I've had one today. I will have had one that day already, and I get
okay. All right. I'm sorry.
No tea. Water will be fine.
All right. Fair enough. All right.
All right.
What did you get from that? What did you not get from that? I think it's pretty straightforward that you just try and keep it conversational, but tell me, give me feedback.
Me personally or someone else?
Anyone.
I'm not sure if people are that friendly and open to a phone call from like a semi-stranger.
Okay.
Yeah, we determined that we met. We determined that we met though.
Right. So based on the situation where him and I had already had a conversation at an open house, right? So I have an idea that he was renting, and he had memory of me already talking. It's obviously going to be different when you're cold calling someone. So yes, I understand the objection there as well. What else?
I tried to set you up to fail in that area by asking you, how did you know?
Yeah, I noticed that.
So if he would have gone somewhere else, I was going to give him a real hard time.
I wasn't going to go anywhere else. Are you kidding me? Like I knew what I was supposed to do. I understood the assignment.
You want to practice with Josh and give him a hard time?
No, I don't want a hard. Guys, I've been talking for 2.5 hours. Don't give me.
Let's give Josh a hard time. All right. Who would like to be the example?
I will give Josh a hard time.
Oh, we're already best friends.
I do not want a hard time. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do this that well. So.
All right, you can pick the scenario entirely. He needs to stay on his toes.
Yeah, you're just gonna cold call me. Maybe I messaged you on Zillow that I liked a house listing that you have for sale.
Okay. This is embarrassing. I'm gonna get smoked right now because I got nothing left. All right. Ring ring.
Hello,
Hi, I was looking for Sarah.
this is she. How can I help you?
Hey Sarah, my name's Josh Wolf. I'm a realtor at KW Elite. How are you today?
Oh, I'm good. I'm really busy. What's going on?
Look, so I just got your inquiry on 123 Main Street. I just wanted to reach out really quickly and see, frankly, what your interest is in the property. Are you and where you are in the buying process, if at all?
Sorry, I don't really like sales calls, but yeah, I did see that property on Zillow and I thought it was really pretty. I just want to know if it was actually a real listing or if it's one of those fake Zillow listings.
So it actually is a real listing. I am the listing agent on it. This isn't a sales call. I am responding to the form that you submitted to us. So at this point, I'd love to get an understanding of, other than the fact that it's really pretty, what about it fits your needs?
I'm looking for, something that's affordable, something that I can buy for myself to live in.
Okay. And how far along are you in that process right now?
I'm nowhere. I'm just looking online.
Okay. So you're nowhere. Would you say it's fair to say that you're about 6 to 12 months out from actually purchasing a property?
I don't know. I don't know anything about it. Like I have some money saved.
Okay. Now, would it be helpful for me to get you in touch with a lender that can give you the roadmap to actually home ownership within the next year?
I don't know. Do you think? I'm not sure. I have no idea. I don't know anything about this process.
Okay. Then would it be helpful for you
Do
and
I
I
need to work with a real estate agent?
It depends. You just said by your own admission that you don't necessarily know anything about the home buying process, right? So my job as a real estate agent is to make sure that you have the ins and outs and understanding of what it actually takes to own a home and purchase a home, i.e. that real estate agent works as a fiduciary on your behalf. So negotiations, working through issues, going through problems in the house, having a second pair of eyes to go to the house and point out things that could be issues in 3 to 5 years, things that are immediate issues, helping you hire inspectors, helping you hire the right mortgage lender based on the product that you need to have. Does that sound like someone that you'd want to work with to help you buy a home?
Yeah, possibly, because I have some money saved up. It's not urgent. I don't need to move, but
Okay.
I think it's the responsible thing to do to buy myself something.
Okay.
And I guess I don't really know where to start.
Okay. Would it make sense to spend 45 minutes with me and we'll actually do a buyer's consultation to figure out the right starting point for you, right?
I'm really overwhelmed and busy, I feel like, all the time.
Okay.
So what do you mean meet? Like, do you mean like a Zoom call or something?
If you want to do Zoom, that's fine. I could also meet you around the corner from your coffee shop at your volition whenever you're available.
Yeah, like maybe we could do a Zoom call.
Okay. When works? What's your schedule look like today and tomorrow?
What about next week? I don't like to overwhelm my schedule, week of.
Okay. So what day next week then?
What about Tuesday of next week?
Okay. What time?
That's hard because I have such an unpredictable schedule.
So if you're not going to seriously consider what this can do for your equity in the long term, and if you're just here to yes me, well, then that's not going to be the best use of my time. It's not the best use of your time. All I'm trying to do is give you the roadmap into home ownership over the next 12 months. There's no sales pitch here. Sorry?
Are you attacking me?
Really? Yes, I am personally attacking you. My time is valuable, your time is valuable, and I understand that. And I want to make sure that you have the roadmap to actual home ownership. I'm not going to present any paperwork or anything else like that.
I think I can meet at 10 a.m. next Tuesday. Are you able to meet then?
Yeah, I can do that. That'll work.
Okay, thank you.
All right, see you then.
Would you even want to work with someone like that?
No, I would have already fired you.
But
No,
I just know
joking.
that a lot of people just hate when you call them.
They do, but that also goes into, that goes back into what we've been talking about and finding out what the right mode of communication on your strong suits are, but also what their preferred communication is. Like I used to set up appointments all the time, just via text message. Okay. It feels less invasive. It's meeting them on their turf and you're not over inundating them and overwhelming them. I really only liked making calls when I knew that they were going to be actionable phone calls based off of what their behaviors were on my website, and also based on what our past conversations are. And that can be via text message or email or how we met them. Cold calling, don't get me wrong, it's tough. Just eat the frog, do it. Okay. The more comfortable you get cold calling, and frankly, I am uncomfortable in this type of situation because it's not just me and you talking about a hypothetical. I have 20 people being like, this guy looks like a massive ass right now. So that's really what it comes down to.
I have two questions.
Two
So
answers.
in the beginning, so I used to work in property management,
Yep.
and one question that I told my leasing agents, or that we were supposed to ask if we called someone, is, do you have time to talk?
Mhm.
So is that something that you could have, I don't think you asked that, but is that something you could have asked? Because she's like, I'm busy. I don't know. You just say, hi, is this blah, blah, blah. Do you have time to talk?
So yes and no, because the purpose of my phone call right there was not to have a 30-minute conversation. It was meant to be 90 seconds to secure the appointment. So I'm getting micro yeses. So the idea behind what you're talking about is get them saying yes once, they'll continue saying yes throughout the conversation. The issue the issue I have with it is it's very easy for them to be like, no, I have no time to talk. Then they have your phone number, then they know why you're calling, and then they're going to screen your call when they do say they have time.
Or could you be like, because she did put in that inquiry and you are calling because she asked to know more about a house.
Right.
Could you be like, hey, Sarah, this is, Josh calling from blah, blah,
That is
blah.
my name. Thank you for remembering me.
It's my brother's name. I'm calling because you put in an inquiry about XYZ house. Do you have 5 minutes to talk so I can learn more about what you're looking for or something?
Right. I've always been in the mindset of don't give them the time to say no to you.
Okay.
Like, don't give them that autonomy to say no, right?
Okay.
If they say it's not of interest, that's fine. I've done my job.
Yeah.
But if I can't get to that question, well, then I'm kind of screwed. And that's someone that's going to be on my follow-up list forever because of that one inquiry. So it's just a quicker way. And I understand that it seems a little bit more rude than we would like to be. We always want to be common. We always want to be kind and courteous. But when it comes to lead generating and getting that type of inquiry in, it's better off to maybe piss her off for 90 seconds than have her just say no to you. And then you never actually get the answer.
And then the other question is at the end, when you guys are like going back, okay, when do you have time? Okay, when do you have time? Could we say like, all right, how about we just make it for 11 a.m. on Tuesday? And if that doesn't work, then you can let me know, but let's just get that on the calendar for now and then go from there.
If she doesn't give me the time, she's not going to make the time that I suggested. Okay. And that is from my own experience in just recruiting agents, right? I always try and help them, tell them what's going to work for your schedule. You pick the day, you pick the time, because it's not me suggesting the time, right? It's going to be very easy for them to come back to me and say, well, you suggested that time. It didn't really make work for my schedule. If they're looking at their calendar, it means they're taking you seriously and they're taking your inquiry seriously. And if they're the ones that are saying, hey, this is my time, it's easier for you to follow up with, okay, you said the time, you can commit to that. Yes, good. Let's put it on the schedule and I'll send the meeting invite. Yeah. Also, as the agent, you should be sending a meeting invite out to them. Put it on their calendar, in their face. Make them promise you they're going to show up. The point of all of this is do not waste your time later and do not waste their time.
What we do for agents in our market center is when we'll set up an appointment for an agent to come and say we're recruiting them, we'll make the Google Calendar invite and we'll wait for them to say yes and confirm that they have A, received the appointment, and B, they've acknowledged it. So if they haven't confirmed and they haven't said yes, that'll require us to do an additional follow-up, like, hey, just confirming this appointment that we have for tomorrow. Are we still on? Things like that.
Yep. It's important to know, right? Like, if you're going to be the one that's suggesting the times, and frankly, time kills all deals anyway. The other portion of what Sarah had said that I really wanted to push back was, I don't want to wait a week, and I don't really care that you're overwhelmed. That means you haven't been trained properly and you have no idea how to actually manage your time. Most likely what was going to happen on Tuesday when I went to go see her at 10 a.m., she wasn't going to be there. Like, I knew that off the bat. But for the sake of respecting all of your time, I did not want to keep going for the next 40 minutes and fighting back and forth with her.
Good point in the chat was I liked the idea that you didn't beg for the appointment. You acknowledged that she wasn't all in.
You're not supposed to beg for the appointment because that gives you an air of desperation. The entire time I'm doing my best to come from a place of value. Always remember, you're not asking just to meet the person. You're coming from a place to make sure that they're going to walk away with knowledge they did not have before. So by keeping the conversation on them, it's better off. So at that point, do you remove someone like that from your contacts follow-up, or do you try again? Smart plan. Utilize a smart plan, right? Utilize a smart plan. It doesn't always have to be you. Like, and frankly, a no is never a no until the sixth no. It's an exhausting way to say it, but most of the time, you're not going to get the real answer until the sixth time. If you keep showing up in this person's face, and they may, and frankly, timing is everything, right? Being the first is important, but you may just touch someone at the right time after 5 or 6 months of trying them, and that's when they're willing to talk. Things change all the time. So a no is never a full no. Those people should be put on a separate smart plan that said, hey, we got the negative contact from them. Let's see if we can, elicit a different reaction in 4 months.
I guess the hard part is to get someone on the phone and then let us say what do we want to say, you know what I mean? Because they can stop right away and you even told them why you were calling. So I feel like this has been hard.
And it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
Lead gen, there's a reason why they're the top top real estate agents in the country. The top 11%, they're the best lead generators. And it's because they have really, really thick skin. You have to have really thick skin to lead generate well. You're going to hear way more no's than you are yeses. Think about the online lead generation model, and we are so getting over time. So if you guys want me to keep going for a couple minutes, I will. But the win rate on online lead generation on the high end is 5%. On the average, 2 to 3%. i.e., you get 100 online leads, you're probably only going to sell 3 homes. It's a numbers game. And the more you can internalize and compartmentalize the no's and move on to the next one that might be a yes, the better off you're going to be.
I like what you said, Josh. If you get the sense that, who you're talking to isn't a phone call person, to kind of say what you need to say, schedule an appointment, and then suggest, hey, I enjoy texting. I can text you in the future. I liked that a lot.
It's going to help you out. Because then you're meeting, meet them on their ground. Meet them on their ground. Do what you need to do. Okay. And always come from a place of contribution. Always, 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 always. If you're calling for the sake of calling, you're wasting both of your time. And you're probably going to burn a lead. And that is what I will leave you all with. If you have any questions, anything you guys want to talk to me about, again, my email is in the chat box. Good job, everyone, today. Thank you guys for coming, and we will see you all soon. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, Josh. Have a good one.
No worries. You too.